Namaskar, good morning, Salam Alaikum. This is Suraj Singh speaking from Bharat, India on this 28th June 2020. Another talk on typical subjects, a briefing on COVID-19, and then you can say specifications, management, soil concrete, and FIDIC. As many subjects and talks as possible, in general as well as specific. It depends upon how could it be taken, how can it be taken in one way or in other way, depending on how can it be taken or how can it be given, Well, this is just an introduction only, just an introduction. This is FIE of IEI, and this is, you may say, this is Institution of Engineers India, warranted by Royal Charter 1935, and starting with COVID-19, now name is okay, COVID-19 is, but we can give any name to this according to our mind. It can be COVID-19 health, COVID-19 mind, COVID-19 attack on mind, COVID-19 attack on body, COVID-19 attack on respiration system, COVID-19 attack on all organs. I can say COVID-19 means not simply SARS as we used to write, that it is severe acute respiratory syndrome. That is one part. Now various researches are coming in, and they are giving some more information on this issue, which I am surprised to know these issues. One research information came from Spain and Barcelona, where in March to November those scientists observed in water there, in some drying water body system, disposal system, they observed similar viruses in March to few months 2019. That was some news yesterday, and I am posting also on my Facebook that yesterday it said that in March 2019, such virus, of course not in that much capacity or the potential, were observed in Spain. So this gives another outlook, you can say, another angle of consideration, when really did it start from Wuhan, China, or it started from somewhere else, or it was existing before that. That's a big issue, because there have been observations that not necessarily COVID-19 is really COVID-19. It could be COVID-17, it could be COVID-16, nobody knows. Because this is just a reference, means WHO said, okay, we adopted COVID-19 is the original year, but maybe its original year different, and it was in low potential available before. As hypotheses are coming in from various reliable sources. So this is just a reference, COVID-19, this is not confirmed one. So nobody has confirmed till now, no scientist has done, nothing has happened so far. This was one part of observation I had yesterday, that. Another important observation is that COVID-19 is just does not link to SARS or respiratory system. Let's say it's a severe acute respiratory syndromes. That's one part of it, but there are so many other parts of it now. It's that it not only impacts SARS but can also impact your mind, your brain. And if that's the case, means there have been cases that people's symptoms felt like that, means they were losing their memories. I'm sorry, they were having related problems of brain or neurons in particular lower section or part of their brains, lost memories, resulted in paralysis, and they were able to remember just what happened half minute before, 1 minute before. They were not able to view, or there's some darkness among there's some darkness, dark conditions on the brain, or something like that. Reports from West and other countries. And this was posting on that news, not postings, or news, that it can affect. And it's an explanation, not simply a presumption. It was explanatory given on that thing, that it can affect your mind, and that can lead to complications for future. And even if somebody is patient of COVID-19 and gets recovered, it doesn't mean that it is recovery, but just you can say reinstatement of health condition. But the virus is in, it doesn't go out, which means it can cause problems in future as well. That's only a threat, that's only worry for human. It may affect 2 years, after 2 years or 3 years, 4 years, nobody knows that, because its research is not over, it's being in its initial stages. So we cannot say, nobody can say I'm not signing up, just referring you to those positions of news. Also that its speed, its acceleration, its velocity is enhancing day by day. Official figures in Bharat says it's crossed 500,000 2 days back, and there's some calculation by some expert that in coming months it shall cross many millions. Somebody has said that means it's moving that fast, and also WHO warned that whole Europe is more prone to additional impact. They are calling second wave, but actually there is no wave. It's still continuing. It's not gone somewhere else. There's no first or second wave. Let us say it happens in second wave. Europe is going to suffer second wave, and America is in problem because it's spread to in addition to New York and Florida, to 11 more states, and it's expected that crores of people have been infected there, and I'm sure in our country, Bharat also, crores of citizens have been impacted, though it's being said as just 500,000. But if I say multiply by 5, with no time, just multiply by 5, you will get a 250. 200 is a 5 lakhs now. It would be 25 lakhs. You may say, if not more, at least. They are infection because no country is giving factual news. All are giving news according to their suitability, and suitability is that COVID-19 does not know anyone. It has no relation to any person on earth. It is just a machine. It's just a machine spreading its effects on all nations, on no part of left from that impact, which is beauty of COVID-19. So if those who think it will go away soon, they are just staying in full paralysis. I also watched one interview on television with some very expert person. He said probably half of our population may be impacted, but I don't believe that, because half means about more than 50-60 crores people. Well, they may be automatically infected by nature, already maybe some COVID inside, but it is such a first time on earth, such dilemma, such confusion, such mix-up, such insecurity, such uncertainty accessed. This group of all these property rights named exist on first time. So nobody could understand, nobody could conclude till now what is that. And as far as its medicines are concerned, its injections are concerned, or vaccinations are concerned, it's just distant. And I think only self control, self lead is important for this. Precautionary measures are important for this. So, who knows when it started? Nobody knows, and I don't think somebody will know in future where they start, from where it means. All assumptions, all skepticism, no evidence, scientific evidence, because science does not move without evidence. It's not politics, it's not social engineering, it's a matter of science, matter of evidence, which has not been established till now. Only hearsay, and this hearsay does not work in real world of science and management. Yes, management can manage something, or they can imagine something, but in science it can't be imagined like this. So science demands complete answer to why, what and how, and if we cannot answer what and how, then it doesn't work. So far it can be said that there have been drops. Yes, all countries are opening their economies, which may be good for them currently, but keeping in view coming times, future times, they shall suffer certainly, because if there is, let us say, there is R factor 1 or 0.5 or 0.75, in some country this R factor will become 2 or 3 in coming times. R factor, I understand what you mean by R factor, do you understand that? R equal, one affected person can impact how many, and infect others. So if one person can impact one person, or one person can impact two person, or one person can impact half person, so population depends on that population of patients. It's also true that it's affecting only health. It's not leading to death almost. So you may say 0.5 to 1% cases are fatalities or casualties. Otherwise, most people, many higher percentage of people are getting recovery, and maybe late, but they are getting recoveries, comfortable recoveries. But they should be they maybe means not I can should be maybe they are prone to re-impact in future if they do not enhance their resistance in health, in body. If they do not improve on that, they shall again invite COVID-19 or some other virus. So it's very important for even those are not patients, and all those who are patients and recovered one, all those must take care of how to raise their immunity levels, how to live little difficult but comfortable, health-wise comfortable life. Just sacrifice some comforts, eating comforts and staying comforts, and customized to natural forces, natural agencies for your health take-up. That's a very important point here. And if those who cannot do that, they have to learn how to do that. When you can go to gymnasium, you can also stand in sun, because sun is biggest gymnasium of world. Sun or open to air, open to sky, OT as we call it, open to sky, is best gymnasium for your health. It doesn't charge anything. There's no need, just stay in sun, walk till you can take fresh air, you can inhale fresh air, and also you can get sun temperature into your body, you'll heat up, and also in addition to that you'll get injections, uniform application of injections on your body of ultraviolet rays. This time and again I try to communicate. I don't know people understand or they don't understand. It's up to you, gentlemen. My social duty is, my national duty is, my international duty is to disseminate what I think. Maybe you think I have no relation to that as my knowledge is concerned, But COVID is not specific, it's general now, because everybody has a duty to keep off from this vulnerable part this time. So if you think that precautionary measures are very important to be adopted, it's your right, it's your choice option, and if you think no, we can't, then you have no right to spoil others also. You should keep in mind, if you don't take your care, this means you are not taking care of others as well, because you're a member of society, you're not in isolation forever. If you don't take your care, then you are of course inviting impact of your negativism onto those other people who would be impacted by your health effects. So don't worry about you. If you want to say no, I don't care for myself, but you don't have right to impact others. Don't forget that. This is not question of law or something. It's question of humanity, question of God, because whatever right you have to live in, everybody has got similar right. You have no power to encroach that right of other one, and if you do that, that is work against nature, work against God. With cyclone COVID-19, we are expecting that public shall take care of this, and particularly my countrymen who ignore, and also those people from various other countries who ignore measures to be adopted, must resort to measures and precautions. Money is one part, but not every part. Even if you are sitting at home, because you are big guys, you are computer-oriented people, you don't accept that you are a worker, but I respect workers. I don't respect you in that case, because workers are more important than you people, because workers make this country, develop this country. You people do not deliver any job which is final one to be used, but those people spend their health and their energy into those jobs which are used by each and everybody. So for me, worker is first priority. Workers, I mean to say industrial workers, construction workers, and all those workers who use their energies physically as well as to some extent mentally. But I know you are brave. You're having proud. That I am an office worker, or I am manager, or I am IT, or that. That pride is only for you, not for others. So you have no right to kill them as well. So what I say, you may be in stress or no stress, that doesn't matter. You are in stress because your health is weak. There is no confidence in you. Only then stresses come, depressions come. Depressions never come with those whose minds are full of energy, who are happy with their work. And that's very important part. I say, don't try to impact others. You have good health food. Stop eating fat food. Stop eating those food which are expensive. Better try to cook yourself if you don't have any other person to cook for you. You may take boiled food, boiled vegetable. Don't worry about all the spices and injections. Just take boiled vegetables, or boiled milk, or boiled water. Use masks and spectacles for eyes, because eye also is a medium through which this virus can penetrate your body. Of course, it is no stoppage. It can go to whatever part of your body, so it can affect your fertility also in future. So I should not say that, but I'm feeling that it's going to harm your whole system. So when whole system is affected, when the mind can be affected, that's very important part. Believe that, keep that unit in mind, that mind is impacted by this. When mind controls your body, and mind controls, if your mind stops working or is obstructed from working, you can know what shall the result, where shall you stand. That is very important point to understand. My purpose is just to apprise you, just to put something in your mind, in your thoughts, to keep you warmed up, keep you little less asleep, because sleeping also leads to diseases if you see sleep excess. Therefore say, I close COVID-19 now, because I don't want to take unnecessary long. It's just an introduction. It was I want to get you aware of this. Now I move to then management. Management means I'll move now to project management, general discussions, total quality, and then I say project management, which means everything, or I can say organization, project organization, or total quality, and it must be understood properly in every individual sense. It's not that I am telling you this is management means this is management. Management according to you, according to me, according to someone else can be different definition. But remember that destination, objective is all same, and you must understand this point as well, that life is not same always as it changes now. Everything can change, and everything can change. I can say that one. Now I just remove that note because it is indicative for forward or forward, and I would ask my friends, if you bore with my talks, please tell me that how can I make it more interesting, because my talks are never scripted. I never script anything. Script, I mean, say when I speak something, it's not my pride. I'm not saying pride. I have observed that if I walk, or if I don't walk, what happens? Or if I use energy to do some work, or I keep resting, I have felt different modes, means when I find benefit or when I don't find benefit, in a sense that if I am busy, I feel whatever of comfort, and if I am not busy, I get whatever of comfort. I can measure that. That measurement is very important from every point of view, because that measurement is very important in life. That's also, you can say, a kind of self-study, which doesn't need any professor, because you are your own professor there. You know yourself, you know what you can do, you know every aspect of yourself, because it is said that person knows himself first. Person knows in totality, because that person meets all those problems. As much as I know myself, maybe others don't know me to that level. Also, they know themselves, I don't know them. So it is mutually, reciprocally correct. But my issue is organization or management. Management, I mean to say what type of management I'm talking, or what type of organization I'm talking, because organization applies everywhere in life. It's not simply that we can confine it to construction, or designs, or whatever you may say. It's not simply apply. It applies everywhere. So, in this regard, I will refer to one question raised by one engineer, or one structural form of structural form of India, structural engineering form of India, which I usually sometimes I write on that. I'm also giving links of all these professional videos onto that page. Just if they are interested, they can refer to these videos, though these videos are only made by me. I'm a very small person, not very brilliant. I'm not qualified like all members there are. I'm just an ordinary person with ordinary knowledge. But it may be ordinary or the highest degree of intelligence. Knowledge is knowledge. Management is this, the organization is this. When question was raised that can engineer, civil engineer or structural engineer, what do you call this? Means for me, it was same, no difference. When dealing with structures, means you are a structural engineer. It doesn't matter you work in design or work in field. or you work in something else there. You are dealing with the structure directly or indirectly. So structural engineer is also a person who does work on site, and is just a person who designs. Both are structural engineers, no difference. It doesn't mean only design. Then if you say you're a designer or you're a design engineer or structural engineer, that's my explanation. Very simple. A person, civil engineer is a structural engineer, or structural engineer is both same thing for me. The question was that can an engineer is a competent to do soil in reporting, soil investigation reporting. The question was nothing new for me. I don't understand. This is why engineers are sectioning everything like that. This is a point of my organizational understanding that don't think that way. It's particular to those engineers, all over engineers. All engineers, I'm not talking about civil or structural engineer, I'm talking in general. Means why you started thinking this way? Means why don't you take everything in totality? Yes, you are maybe you feel yourself structurally, you're big. Then I don't accept that. I don't accept that. Who is big or who is small? It's your work that decides. It's not your title that decides. Title in a start it's okay. But when you pass through title remains behind. Then your work is your explanation. This is my understanding. Title is achieved by you, but it didn't achieve you. There's a difference. Your title you achieved. You achieved your title. Your title did not achieve you. This means your title cannot stop you. It can't barricade you from going to exceeding limits. Your title can't stop you. But that is a reference. That is a reference to identify you, what academics you have, what experience you have, or what is your competency generally. But that title cannot answer everything, and you also cannot answer everything until you prove that you are worth that. Even if you have title, people regard you because you have title. They don't regard you that you know job. Try to understand my point. Title is a comparison of your competency that somebody, your peers have gone through you, or your university has gone through your knowledge and they approve that. That's why title is given. Otherwise there is no meaning of title. That yes, you studied, you passed, that's all. You studied certain program and you got through that successfully through examination, and you got that certified title. It does not carry any other meaning than this. This is beauty of organizational title. I organize title that way. I don't give title more than that value. Yes, because there are so many titles, so many people involved. It's not that time by face we understand everybody who is this. We can't identify by face that this person is like that. Or you have some uniform, which uniform you don't have in engineering. So just by title, no one can, yes, I would say this person should be that. This person must be that much capable to do something. But that person must do that. It can be proven only when that person works in field. That person works in field of designs, field of construction, field of supervision, field of execution, and field of wherever the person is required. Now I link it to quality of a person then. Quality of a person, that if your quality depends on title, then I am far away from that. Title is important, yes, your honor is important. There's no doubt of that. You must have title. But you are not bound by title, that's also true. Your title is only a referee. Your title is only a referee, not more than that. Because people can refer to this, nothing more than that. and it gives a belief to everybody that you must be that much capable. As if you give false statement, that is different. If somebody says that I am bachelor, I am BE passed, or I am ME passed, or I am PhD passed, it only indicates that this person has learnt to that level. But does that person learn? That's the point. Did that person really learn? Point is that. That's why we say fake degrees evolution came up. That's what I say. Real organization lies in person. If somebody is doctorate in engineering says, okay, fine, you are a doctor, we regard you, but if I talk to you or that doctor and I expect something that doctor know, and when I talk to that doctor does not respond to that according to my expectations, then how can I say, how can I conclude that that person really is certified doctor? Yes, certificate he is having. Certificate does not mean that you know that. Every BE, every ME, and even school graduates, they have certification. But those certification doesn't mean people know everything. That's right. Your school certificate says if you have passed 33-35%, you shall be tagged pass. Person knows 35% of examination time. What about 65%? That person does not know. And it doesn't apply to that person, it applies to every person who has done higher studies, like me, like you, like everybody. So if say I pass 50% marks, I pass 60% marks, 70% marks, that is at certain point in your life, and out of certain questions you set in, it doesn't mean you knew all those questions or you might have known all those questions. There is a limit. Even a person who says 50% pass I am, so the 50% he did not pass. If I have passed 70% marks, 30% that person did not pass. Or at that time. So nobody can expect someone to know everything thoroughly. That's why my test. It is at examination time. Examination time is not absolute time. Sometimes, there's syllabus. In examination you are given 8 or 9 or 5, whatever questions you are given. Those questions come, maybe you just evaluate that, you will find these questions just came from 10% or 15% of subjects of syllabuses. This means you were set questions out of 15 to 20% of syllabus. So 85% of syllabus was missed away. So out of that 15% syllabus you got this distinction, which means this title, this certification tells only that you have knowledge about this. But it does not tell that you have thorough knowledge about that. That is reality of certification. Whatever certification, it may be academics, it may be professional evaluation or competency certificate. Certificate means within certain defined limits. You know it, and if you don't know that, you have to know it. That's the beauty of that certificate, that you have your way open, we give you way to pass this limit and find more, discover more of that, we won't object to you. That is real meaning of the certification. But we consider it absolute. Consideration of absolute status means you are not really certified. Whoever. I give you my example. It's not a good example, it's a bad example actually I'm giving you. I'm telling you facts about my weakness. I was not brilliant student in school, not at all. Very, below average, though not personally, due to circumstances evolving me. It can happen with everybody. You are encompassed by certain environment which is actually under force or due to certain economical issues. You are not able to devote time to your studies. and you keep off, and you give small time sometimes, and just passing examination is not a big issue. Shall you believe it? In my time, there used to be higher secondary. 11th, 11 classes in the school's education was class 1 to class 11. I qualified my schooling 11th in 1971. 1971, when many of you were not even born. Okay. I was a science student in those days. Engineering sciences used to be called, and I had subjects like physics, chemistry, mathematics, and drawings, and of course this, I think English. These are main 5 subjects in those times, and of course laboratories, physical laboratories and chemistry, and many other small types of educations. Up to 8th, I was good in maths. Maths was not excellent, but better. So there's a condition I want sciences. That was College of Engineering, school where there was no biological science in those days. It was Jain school when biology was not available. So we had no option but to, I just think you have to take engineering. If you want engineering, science, if you want science, you have to show that your mathematics subject marks are more than this. And I had more than that, so I was successful in getting admission to science classes. Otherwise, I would have shifted to some other arts or commerce. So I was lucky at that time, not because I was intelligent, but because I was having certain marks in maths, and I got that admission. 9th, 10th, 11th. There were 3 classes in my school education at that time, school organization in around all over the country. This was called higher secondary education, not senior secondary education. So I started then. Even then I could not make up because of my, again I'm saying, my private issues, personal issues, which I will talk sometime later when I have time for that. I'll make some video on that. I made also before, but I don't know what have people read harder or no. Now, if, let me see, depends on life. I'm already 66, and I have seen that period 1971 to now. That time was 16, now 6 is a difference of 50 years. This difference of 50 years has seen many stations, good or bad, many airports, good or bad, and I can see that. My father clearly told principal in 11th, I don't have money for examination, and if you don't allow him, then I know him, let him drop. However, I got 47% marks in higher secondary. 47, listen again, 47% marks. What do you think, I was bad or good? You can decide yourself. Because in those days people were getting 70% marks. In those days, not more than 70 or 75 maximum. Not like now 95% of that. Highest merit was just 70% marks, 75% marks maximum. So where is 75 or 70 and where is 47, you can see difference. So I was, you can say, third standard, third class, you can say, classless student, intelligent student. But it was not because of whatever 47, I was not happy or happy, question is not that. It was certain that I won't get admission to university. Of course I could get admission to BSc classes or some other arts classes, but to engineering degree, it was impossible. And I even if I could get that, I didn't have money for that. I could not have resources for 5 years continuous study. भारत निशा, गुड मॉर्निंग. बहुत 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 मनमोहक और अत्यंत आकर्षक आदर्श very good Hindi, very beautiful and difficult Hindi. Well, thank you very much. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका मिस्टर श्रीमान जी. भारत निशाद, welcome, स्वागतम. Yes, so in that day, on that day, I'm just giving you my case. It doesn't mean at the time why. Well, some person helped me, and that was okay. I got your admission diploma. I got admitted, doesn't mean I studied further. Means I'm telling you, every good person or every good person doesn't remain good forever, and every bad person doesn't remain bad for all the time. We have to see this difference. Means this is what personal organization is, a private organization is. What you are today doesn't mean tomorrow you will be in same queue. Maybe you are different. This is achievement. This is attempts. That's why I define management and organization like that. Don't be slave of something. Don't be slave of something, because don't keep your mind set in one. Oh, I can't study, I am weak, I am this, I am that. Do not make yourself that. Do not make yourself that, because if you see competition or races or marathon or prizes, first prize, second prize, third prize, and then participation prize or condolence, or whatever you can say that, there is no much difference on those races. Seconds difference. This person is getting first prize, this and first prize, this person gets second prize. There's just a difference of 2 seconds among them or 4 seconds among them. So keep in mind, in race, you are not far behind, even though you are second or third or even did not win a prize, but you participated. That participation is prize actually. That participation, keeping your existence there without any greed but for certain objective, that is real prize. Your prize can't be measured in medals. Medals don't measure your prize. Your prize is your achievement, your determination, your commitment. That's your prize. Your confidence. If you build your confidence, if you raise your confidence in whatever field you are, that's your prize. As much as confidence you earn, that much hesitation you will lose. You are bound by hesitation. You are bound, oh, what people shall say, I can't move further. That stops your organization. That impacts your personal management. I am telling personal management, individual management. You have to manage yourself if you can. And if you can manage yourself, you are best person, you have to award yourself. Don't wait for award from somebody and your award is you are getting something else. You were at 0, then you came to 1, then you reached 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and like that in sequence you completed that chain where you got your objective, your milestone. Then if you look back, you'll say, where is 0? 0 is far away from me, but you were at 0, don't forget that. From 0 you started and reached 9, you did not come through parachute to 9. Parachute is your obstruction, remember. Additional support from other people is your obstruction. If you achieve something in your life through some approach or something else which is not due to you, then you won't feel happy in your life. Yes, you may have position, you may have power, but you won't have confidence. Confidence, biggest degree in life. Education gives you confidence. Degrees give you confidence that you can work there, not more than that. When you work, you don't refer to your certificates all the time, but you work. You refer to your knowledge. You refer to your learned. That reference is important, and that is not every page that is. You might have studied 35 to 40 books in your degree. Those give you confidence. If you lose confidence sometimes, don't forget you open those books again and say, oh, what I studied. Because you did not study 100% that time, and it's not possible. Being too young a boy or girl, 18 or 16 years old, your brain is not that smart to receive all information. You may be having hard disk, but you can't store that, you can't memorize that because your software is not that smart. But once you develop in life, your software shall become more smart, that much smart that you start to see your applications yourself, your formula yourself. This is what is called growing up, that's called confidence building. And every day you build your confidence if you work, and if you don't work, you lose your confidence. Losing confidence, or you sleep on confidence. When I say sleeping is not a part of organization, I simply say person is sleeping. People say, why is sleeping? He's not sleeping. Oh, okay. Sleeping doesn't mean sleeping eyes closed. Sleeping is international word which says you are not working. You are sitting. That is sleep. You are sleeping on work, not on your body. You are not doing what you are required to do. So that is called breaking management, breaking organization. You are breaking yourself. You are disintegrating yourself. Disintegration is a break in your life. People call this person integrated. What does it mean? You are integral character. Means you are not going to be broken piece by piece. You have framed yourself into certain mind, and that's your mind rules you. You can build up mind further. It further rules you and others, and it rules your working. It tells you you are doing right or you are doing wrong. It tells you immediately, don't worry. Your mind is very powerful. It's organization. Your mind rules your body. It controls your body. It distributes energy to your body. This is your mind. This tells you at every point, yes, maybe you are not noting that. It tells you internally, here you are wrong. Maybe at that time you are not able to understand, but when you little relax, then of course that information reaches you. Maybe during action you are getting one information, so that information you cannot identify to receive. It came to you, but when you relax, all other activities are down, only one activity remains, suspension. That this is alert to you. That alert tells you you are wrong here. So you notice that and you apply correction. That is where your organization lies with. I am not saying your company organization, your own organization. You try sometime. When you are working, you are concentrating on some activity, and if you make some mistake or error, you will not notice it yourself. And there is no one to tell you what you should do. You are alone. But don't forget, invisible power is working with you. That invisible power is your mind. Or you may say, your soul. Soul is also very intelligent, don't say no. Because if soul is not intelligent, you can't be intelligent. If soul is not intelligent, you can never be intelligent. If your soul has no energy, you can't speak, you can't walk, you can't do anything. It's soul that is your friend, and that is within you. You are not able to identify it, you are not able to see it because you don't want to see it. Okay, don't see it, feel it. You want to feel it also. Because you are busy in external world. Your internal is very powerful. Your internal can change your external world. That's what I say. Your internal organization is very powerful. Internal organization. It's much more powerful than what you think about. These degrees which you get, whatever sort of degrees, these are very small if you compare to your knowledge you have in your mind. But you are not drawing that. There's a big balance in your mind. Bank balance, mental balance in your mind. You're not able to withdraw from that because you don't know how to sign, or you have forgot code, or pin of that. But it will come to you, don't worry. Psychologically, if you see, when you are appearing in a paper, in examination, in my time it used 3 hours examination, I don't know, maybe 1 hour, something, or 20 minutes like that. These are objective type of questions. In my time there was no objective type questions. When I appeared in my school education, in further engineering education, there was no such system of computers. There were no computers. I passed my degree in engineering in 1980. I did my first engineering in 1974. I passed my school in 71. In those days, computers weren't available. Not even names were heard by common people. I joined one company in 1985. There saw some Scott engineer was working on DOS. There was only 1 or 2 computers in that company. In 1985, and nobody knew computers. Nobody had any access to computers. There was no desktop, nothing in those days. But some personally used DOS and they worked. But works were moving. Don't say there was no work. Works were moving. All works were moving as today they are moving. No difference, same speed. Only was that you had to work manually, everything manually. You had to write manually, you had to draw manually, you had to calculate manually, and it took time, of course, but you were doing. I did. Forget your computer. No calculators. No calculators. I think it was 80s or end of 70s when calculators reached our country. And I still remember FX31 in I think it purchased in 79 somewhere. It was at that time of 550 rupees, very expensive. What I'm saying is we were devoid of all these facilities. We used to calculate our fingers so quickly on papers, even MKS or FPS, whatever. We organized like that. That management, completely layman management, you can say, blank minds were well for calculating. We could even calculate our fingers many times. 15 12 is 180, 20 23 like that. Let me ask some student of 12th standard got 95%. Now tell me what's that? If that person found, we will tell you. We used to know English, we used to know maths, we knew everything thoroughly. Our teacher was so strong, we had to learn it, write it, to translate it, learn grammar and all that. You ask a student of today got 95%, tell me translation of one sentence if that person could tell me. Unsuccessful, nobody will know that. I tried many people, I tried many students, both gender. We got 95% marks, 95%, but when I asked some questions, some translation, no. One girl was 90, I say, she was, MA English. What do you think MA English? If someone is MA English, means that person can be a teacher of English, right or wrong. You can be a teacher. I asked some two or three English, translate them. Very simple. She failed. I asked three. She didn't reply a single one. I'm English. That's no, I am from Open. Oh, you may be from Open. It doesn't matter. You must know. You don't know what sort of MA you are. It doesn't mean it's your effort. It's your internal organization that you believe in. Nobody can teach you. You are your teacher. Yes, you can have references from your teacher. Your teacher is not your servant. Your professor is not your servant. They are just there to guide you, to help you. You are your teacher. You think like that. Just like your father is your teacher, but not full time. Your father guides you, tells you what is good, what is bad. Same your mother tells you what is good or bad. Same your neighbors tell you. It depends upon what compass is there in your city, what sort of people you are living with. It makes you different. A person who doesn't study anything but has mind can become very good robber, smuggler. A person who studied a lot can become very good white-collar criminal. These are evidences. There are evidences, yeah. This means internal management always exists even though you are not educated well in certification. But you are otherwise educated in crime, you are educated in malpractice, you are educated in every bad work. That you can do. You can speak very good English, though you never went to school, because English is only a language. It's not qualification. If I may speak English now, it doesn't mean I like it, but my experience has been through that. My education on science has been through that. It doesn't mean I don't speak my language. I can speak my language but that may not be very excellent, you can say. That may not be structured Hindi, or my language is Hindi, you can say Devanagari. But I don't have pride that I don't know that. But because there are some questions, I had to study science. I could not study that very well. People used to study to a BA, MA. Yes, they are very good. But it doesn't matter. Language doesn't matter. It's language. It doesn't matter you speak which language. Question is what you develop. That's point. My internal profession, my internal management, my internal organization, I consider first internal organization, then external organization. Because if you are internally organized, you can make your own organization, or you can successfully do in others' organizations, this others' management. If you are not self-managed, you can't do anything. Management here, organization is you have a right to chart out, you have a right to tabulate your daily routine, monthly routine, weekly routine, and you can change every day, doesn't matter, but institutionalize yourself. When you systemize yourself, when you go to school, you are given a timetable. In this time, 1 class, 2 class, 3 class, you have this. You make your baggage like that or no? That is a child. Child had learned that. Child doesn't need any education for that. That learned that how to pick up bag, how to timetableize your daily program, how to eat, how to pack your food, how to means like that's education. So you have to educate yourself. You have to learn from nature. You don't have to learn from people. Learn from nature. Think what nature is doing. Can you find sun at night or can you find something like that? You can't find that. This is systemized. System is there, in day there is sun. What does it mean? And what does it mean also that is it organized or no? It's very well organized. Sun cannot change its route. It cannot change its system. It cannot change its working. For sun there is no holiday. No holiday for sun, but you have holiday because you are a human being. You get tired, sun doesn't get tired. Your body doesn't get tired, you get tired. Your body works. Even if you sleep, your body works. That is, body is the organization. Your respiration system, your mind works without fail. Since you are born, this has been working and this shall be working until you leave this world. Is there not organization? This is organization. What else you want to know? Only thing is you have to observe. Just like in organization you say this is science and this is nature, or knowledge you say what's difference, you should know difference. You have to understand what's happening in nature, that's science. If you can systemize that in your understanding, if you can say, oh, this is happening like this, I understood this, I observed this, and this is reason, this is formula you say here, that's known as science. But it's not original, it's converted from nature to science. Nature, you got natural knowledge and that knowledge is systemized and it's known as science. You did not make anything to that. Scientists came to know that 2 parts of hydrogen, 1 part of oxygen make water. That scientists came to know from nature. It did not do itself. It did not bring oxygen somewhere and hydrogen from somewhere. Say I mix it like that, so I generate water. No, it's not that. Why I'm saying organization is yours. Your education cannot organize you. It can help you. Your organization is original. You work somewhere in company or somewhere else. You follow their organization because you are not owner there. Okay, but organization is still there. You have to adopt that organization to your organization. So you move further. That's what I'm saying. As question to me or not to me, I reply to that question of engineering. This engineering question, soil question, that can some structural engineer or civil engineer certify or issue report on soil investigation? Well, first of all, I was surprised on this question because this was not a question at all. If you got engineer, become an engineer, and you are asking this question, you see there's something wrong in your conception. You are an engineer, or you are a doctor, or whatever you are, chartered accountant, whatsoever you are. When you have passed that, of course you are competent to work in that discipline, that field. What's wrong with that? You have full right to work in that field, depending on your confidence. A new doctor comes, that doctor start internship for what? Because that person is new in field. Yes, that person has understood theory. That person has gone through but that person is not independent. That person is not independent, that's why internship is allowed so that that person starts doing treatment himself independently. That's the only point. Otherwise, that can treat is learned it already, but certain time is allowed, say a period of 1 year, to work with the doctor. or separate doctors, so that that person, if makes any mistake, doctor with whom he works shall protect him from that and tell him you should not do this. It's a kind of beginning, how to prime your pump, water pump, so the water starts flowing to top level. Priming of life. You have to prime your life. That's organization. Your father primed your life, your mother primed your life, your neighbor primed your life, your brothers and sisters primed your life. Your life has got many prime powers, prime movers, and then your teacher primes you, your professor primes you, your books prime you, all primes. You have become to that level where you can talk, you can write, you can start making decisions, and then it may be right decision or wrong decision, then results would tell you are right or you are wrong. So you can learn from those mistakes, which is called lessons learning. So organization is that. You are already inbuilt organized. Your body is naturally organized, but within your body, your soul, you are organized. Purpose of education is only to train you. Only to train you. That's it. It trains you, but you have to move further. Somebody is fully trained, somebody is half trained, somebody is zero trained, somebody has absolute trained, and somebody is super. Depends upon performance, I found. If you don't understand, you say, okay, I'll teach it. If you don't attend the class, you don't concentrate on studies, you will learn only little. If you concentrate, you learn more and more. Learning does not come from classes. Learning comes from experience. And if you have good learning in classes, then you have good experience, you will be expert. If you learn something and do something else, then you are fool. But you are that, you are past. You have passed. Because there is a limitation on passing. Passing doesn't mean that you are a master or an expert. Passing means you can work there, that's all, nothing else. You may be doctor, engineer, professor, whatever you are. You are not absolute. Whatever position you have, you are not original. Remember, you are relative to some reference. I got 70% marks, so what? Again I am telling you, so what? You got 70% marks in some paper that was given to you to pass. So actually, by chance you got that 80% marks, 90%. This does not mean you know everything of that. Doesn't mean. But it's a measurement of your knowledge that time on that paper, not everywhere. That is your measurement only for you or for those who want to use you. After that, that doesn't mean anything. If I am an engineer at graduation time, yes, it would help me. It would help me. So when there is some examination, I have to appear, I can use that percentage. Or in some job application, I can use that percentage. But they shall interview me, or they will take me, written test. Yes, they can. Just to make sure you know something. It doesn't mean that you are not qualified, you are qualified. But that qualification, that academical knowledge is very limited. That is not that smart, you can take decisions. But you are going to do job for someone where your decisions would work, if not immediately, after some time. For that, you are required to be competent. And what does competent mean? That you are capable. Capable. Capable means you can use certain cap of title. Cap of title. And there are so many titles. One cap has to come to you, which shall indicate you to what level can you work successfully, and if you can work up to late level, and how much extra can you take, that shall take you to another cap. This is what this profession is. Success starts with 1, or it starts with minus and goes to plus. That's why we say failure is root of success. It's not root of failure. And success can be root of failure if it's over enthusiasm. If I am successful every time, I can't fail, nobody can fail me. If I say, I have succeeded 10 times and I was never rejected, I always got approval, I got promotion, it makes you fool then. If you have that much pride. By chance you are fortunate enough that you are progressing That's fine. But it doesn't mean you can't fail. Failure is very easy. Failure is very easy. Success is not that easy, because success requires your attention, your concentration, your time, your confidence. This point, if you can understand, you are a good organizer. You can be a good organizer. You can think within yourself first. You imagine yourself, you contemplate within you, and then think, then do. We say in our profession, plan, do, check, act. You have to plan, and plan doesn't mean final. You have to plan, then maybe plan is right, plan is wrong, that time would tell you, that results would tell you, but you have to plan, then do it accordingly, and then you have to check it accordingly, results you have to check, complete procedure you have done, you have to check. So because there can be any error caused within your procedure of working, that error can take you somewhere else, which you have to surveillance all time, and you will find, oh, this error happened. You have to eliminate that error so that result comes according to your expectations. That's what we work about. Nowhere, when you say expert, what does it mean? It doesn't mean perfect. Expert and perfection are different. Expert means you are getting every day information, and in one day you get absolute information to a level that you can say approximately you have full information about that, and you can use that information on your works, on your performance. So your performance would be different because it's using all references required to solve that problem. That is called performance management. That is called organization of your own. And once you are there, when within that your performance, you shall also take help from others, or others who report to you shall work for you. So other inputs comes to you as you rise yourself. You ascend on that stair flight. You will get internal arrangements with others. So you start expanding your internal organization to your organization. I mean to say, where you work, that institution's organizations, where you are getting help from them, or you are explaining to them what to do, that becomes expanded organization of individuals. So when I say organization depends on individuality of every person. It doesn't depend on the chart or higher. I say this level is this level is this level is this level. That's not organization. That is just a depiction of organization. Nothing else. That's not organization chart. So that just tells you how you are integrated together, how you have been placed in loop, and how you are related to each other. Explanation is not given there. Yes, there are job descriptions for everyone, but that job description is also not final. That is minimum to do. So in that state, when we say I take personal or private organization, I mean to say whatever is within me for me, that no one can destroy any time, no one can change, only I can change. My internal organization, only I can change. What I think, how do I think, how I work, what's my regularity, what's my punctuality, how committed I am, how dedicated I am, how devoted I am, how much I can work, how can I move, how many hours can I work, how many hours do I need rest, and what's my thinking power, what's my thinking development, or what's my efficiency. I have to see every day how many mistakes I have committed, and if I did not commit any mistake, did I work? Because mistakes always include takes. If there is no take, there can't be no mistake. If somebody says, I worked so much and they will make mistake, I won't trust that person. He is a liar. If you work, yes, first time, second time, third time, If you work, you may make mistakes. You must make some mistake. Or if you are claiming you don't make mistakes, this means you did not concentration. You did not apply concentration on that work. You made mistakes, but did not notice those mistakes because you are growing up. You are working on information based work, not direct or your own information. You are collecting information from others, and you are asking them to act on something. So you are supported by those people, and where you are supported and you think I am absolutely right, there can be more chances of mistakes because your supports are not that much calibered as you are possibly, or you are less calibered, they are more calibered, then you can benefit and you don't realize that benefit and they are credit as well. So you are not correct person, you are not right person, it is water. So I was just referring to questions raised about soil engineering questions, soil investigation, which is a very important part. So you can say not only important, significant part of engineering and civil engineering particularly. It's not so simple as we think. So when we learn in engineering, we learn only not thoroughly, just a little. Because when you are university, you can't study everything thoroughly. That's not practically possible due to load of syllabus and load of lectures and load of you don't have much time. Yes, you have to pass that degree. That's a must. So you learn some chapter, you leave also. It happens. There are options. So sometimes you don't care for that. You care for some other in construction or in design somewhere. You leave something, read something, leave something, and your professor will tell, okay, you if you want to, if you learn this, you may leave that. It happens. It happens. When I was doing designs in my degree, because in structural design there was structural steel design one part, and there's a RCC design another part, and there's priestess design. So our professors say, see, if you read both, if you spend time in both, then you may not benefit as far as examination is concerned, because you are short of time. You either take this or take that, take one of them. Either take RCC or take structural steel. So that you have to attempt only one question, not all. You can't attempt both questions because this comes with options. There's option, you either do this or that. So you later on you can learn if you wish. So I opted for RCC, that's reinforcement concrete. Yes, it was my examination. Questions came from both. I attempted RCC question. I did not attempt structure, though it's not very difficult. I could do both, but if you had only one, not two in your syllabus, you see, either do this or that. So you could not attempt. It's not allowed. Not allowed. Even your attempt means it will no use. It will no use. Same is education. There are options. You do this or you do that. So there, I say, there's a limit. But in field, when you go, there is no such limit. You can do to whatever levels you like to do. And that is what's called profession. We call profession because unlimited work is there. Unlimited contribution is there. Unlimited mind thinking is there. Everything is unlimited. That is means of profession, means advanced study, advanced knowledge, advanced. Profession means not, money making business. It's not money making. It's, world making. Of course you get some money, I'm not saying that. Money is required for personal economy, for survival, but that is one part, not total part. Your role is much more than money earning. Your role is you have to develop develop what you can. What you can. You think when you work, you think of money? Nobody thinks of money at that time when you think of work. When you are concentrating on work, you are busy in thinking, money doesn't come to your mind. What for? You know you'll get money, but shall you think of that all the time? You won't. You won't. Otherwise, you won't be able to work. If every time you think I shall get money or earn money, you won't be able to concentrate on your technicalities. You can't concentrate on formula. You can't concentrate on calculations. That coming back to that. So when I say soil engineering, it is something very, you can say not very common in fact. It's not very common. It's very specific in a sense that first of all, this is not very attractive subject. Ease of study, there is no ease of study in this and moreover, public in our country generally, they do not like what is soil investigation. They just want to make some structure, some house. Only they know that, not more than that. Not more than that, that's all public. If we talk them of soil, this means they won't understand anything. But I'm not talking of small projects. When I talk of major projects, which are really projects, means only you can say this is a project you have to sit there for so many months or years, and then only you can deliver something. Their soil investigation is very important. Because big projects means big area. Big area means variation of soil. A lot of variation of soils. When you sit on a big project, there may be thousands and thousands cubic meter of earthwork, thousands and thousands cubic meter of concrete work, and thousands and thousands tonnage of steel on that project. Soil is very important because soil is a material there itself. Soil, without soil power, you can't construct that building. So their question comes in, what about how to know about that soil? How about that mitti, you can say, how to know about that? What is the way to ensure that this level where I am going to station my building, found my building, is good for that? That requires knowledge of soil, and if you don't have that knowledge, you have to gain that knowledge. And to gain that knowledge means you have to investigate that soil. Just like we investigate how to produce concrete, we investigate how to make good brick or good block. Same way we investigate how to see value of this soil, how it can perform, where or not this good for me, whether if it's good for me, how much good it is. That is called soil investigation. In our engineering syllabus of civil, this is a mandatory in construction subject, but not that extensive as it should be. Yet it is there. Indicative answers are there, means there are some details, but hardly 10%, 15% students take interest in that. Others leave it. But you have passed it in principle because you passed engineering. So you are asking a question, are you competent on that? My answer is, when you pass something, certainly you are competent on that. Yes, it may be percentage wise different, but you are competent because you are passed. Even if you don't study that, you are required to know that. If you have not studied at time of examination, after passing you can study any time in your life. You can study on job, or you can study when you don't have work. You can study anything. No one is going to stop you. You are your own lecturer, your own professor, and you are student yourself. You self-study, which is best study in world, self-study. If somebody is used to self-study, I don't find any university for that, but that person in itself is university when you start self-study, because self-study means mastery. Only that person can study self who has patience, who has knowledge, and who makes mind more brilliant Don't depend upon others to tell you what to study. Do whatever you want to study. Nobody stops you. I just answer to that side question. If you are competent, you think you can do it. But if you are competent, my prohibition that, my howsoever is that, provided you can. Your certificate cannot command. You can, but you can. For that understanding, you must know a lot. Because soil is not easy. It's not easy. Again I am telling you, soil on which building rests, on which structure rests, are very difficult in its theory. Very difficult. It's really difficult to that level where you will find solutions yourself. Many tests are there, many activities are involved on that, and even after those testings, even after doing complete soil reporting, you can't guarantee something, because soil is natural. It's not your created, it's natural. And if something is natural, no one can guarantee it because it's natural. Your mind is there. How much my mind is, how can somebody know? And how much my mind is, how I can also know? We don't know. We can't measure. Check this person, what's his mind? How can we check? We can check only by what he does, how that person performs. Because that's reality. So, when you talk of management or you talk of organization, take it completely differently. Don't depend on others what they teach you. Everybody is different in whole world. Everybody is brilliant, but different level brilliant. And everybody is also, having minds of different potentials. Everybody is having energy, but of different measures. I have energy, you have energy. But that energy never remains constant, remember. That energy cannot remain constant. It goes up and down according to your requirement. If you require a lot, it will come to you a lot. If you don't require a lot, it won't come to you. Even if it comes to you, it will go away. Because you are not using that. And remember, these flies are very respectable. These flies. Flies means what? They understand very well what they have to do. So you fly your mind. You fly yourself in imagination, not physically. That is what organization is all about. Every job you have to organize depends on activities, quantities, timings. Many points are here, not one. Every soil everywhere is not same. Here one soil, maybe after 5 meters another soil, maybe after half, you can say 200 meters another soil, and at different level different soils. Now how to decide? That's the point, how to decide. Yes, there are such systems, of course, there are such systems in soil, like bearing capacity, which you can know by plate load bearing test. There can be certain of your friends like crows, like birds, how they work, how they fly. You have to relate to that and find if it can help you in solve you can find that. But that world you have to understand first. First that world. That world is inside you. So that's what I'm saying. Management should be quality one, organization should be total quality. It should not be only quality for work, that I am a degree engineer, I can work for you, give me work. No, that's not that. What instinct is in you? What instinct is in you? That's important. Yes, getting job is one part, but doing job is another part. I have seen people get bigger positions, but they try to let others do for them, not they. It happens. You may call it quality, you may call it, what you call it, methods, but you how to increase your efforts. So ultimately, you need rest. You have to keep in mind. Rest is also a motivation. If you don't have rest, you are tired. You can make mistake. Your concentration can go away. Such thoughts are very important for what we do. Very important thoughts. Very important thoughts in that. So I have to say, management can never be ended in explanation. There is no end to management and quality of management. I am saying quality of management. I am not saying that this is total quality. I can say that. So whatever I discussed with you so far is actually total quality of your personality. Everybody is different. Indeed, everybody is different. But everybody's objective is same. Only a very minimum of people who believe in robbery, who believe in crime, very number of people, small number of people. But there are many number of people who want to get something without doing anything. When your organization becomes such that you want to get everything positive but do nothing positive, there is a dangerous situation. There are people who don't want to do themselves but depend on others. Such people are not organized ones. They can never be successful on their own. So they become habitual, and management has been taken into that direction, that you collect information from others and collect and gather that information, they comments to someone else. I don't consider management or organization. I think that is fake management. Management means, organization means you have to understand that, you have to know about that, and you should know pros and cons of that. Management, when you apply that, and when you apply that, it should move away from you in a sense that people start understanding what done. So management actually has no explanation, but lot of explanation. I try to just tell you means what we are here. Now, management explanation cannot be given as much as possible. We have to stop at some point because it's daily talk, and I don't want to unnecessarily bore people, because talking cannot be curtailed once you start. But one should be thinker rather than talker. I am not thinker, I am talker at the moment. But if you think and talk, that's best way of approach. Think and talk. And think means you must have logical thinking, otherwise you can't even think. If your thinking is nothing to you. If your thinking is nothing to you, then you are not a thinker. Your thinking is going waste, your contemplation is going waste. So I say, that's what I say. Now, I like to go to that a general that I started with, in general. I have talked about concrete many times. This is QCS and general. I am referring to some specifications that are actually useful. What we do in our engineering are not only engineering everywhere in our life. I am not much sure about other disciplines, but I understand that everywhere there is some kind of management, some kind of control, some kind of, you can say, definition of something, explanation of something, that how you should something job, how you should do it. So it may be a shopkeeper, it may be a mason, it may be a contractor, it may be an engineer, it may be whosoever. We cannot find all construction in one city. We cannot find everything in a central city. When we say specifications, what does it mean? When I talk of specification, any kind of specification, I'm not talking of my discipline, all over specifications, what are those? Specific, particular, specifications means special or particular, not general. Not general. That is specification. General everybody knows, everyone can do. But specific, only that can do. Who knows that? A special person who experiences that. Only that person knows how to do it. If you want to know that, either you have to write yourselves, particular person, and that cannot be called specifications. It will just be called statement as your comments. Specification is a limit. Specification is a mandate. Specification means must be done. Of course, options are there, but must be done. And if it is not done, that level lies below speculation. We say in concrete we should have 32 degrees temperatures. 32 degrees temperatures, we should 40 degrees temperatures, this degree, that degree. Or we say should have that much strength, this much slump, this much air temperature, or this much, whatever we say they are, not only in concrete, everywhere. That specifications means you have to see these must. You must be within this limit, you must do this, you must do that. That is specification. And specification is not like chapters, it's brief. It's brief, and if we cannot follow that, if we have specification and if we cannot follow those specification, okay. I explained to you till yesterday or before yesterday about concrete. What is concrete, how it is concrete, how we consider it, and what are various levels of concrete and how to control and monitor that. I used that chapter, more than 200 pages for this purpose. That if you know what is specification, you have to work Otherwise you can't work. You must understand what you have to do. That is basis of specification. You cannot do your way. You have to follow that, because that comprises power of that activity. Same way, there is a general specification, which means there are descriptions of something to do, how to do that, what you should do that. When we say concrete specifications, there are a lot of concrete talks in that. There is now Qatar's, it's everywhere I'm talking of Qatar's, these general specifications, and I had talked yesterday something about that. I think I had reached 2 chapters. I was in 3rd chapter, I remember. Let me see, where is it? Introduction it was, and then the other one was. I'm going to search that page, introduction, then it was again introduction continues here, so it was language, it was then, after language it is general, and that is use and maintenance of site. Okay. So this is part 2 or chapter 2 of this document. So this is chapter use and maintenance of site. Use of maintenance, I think, is done. Sorry, this is site access and entry onto site. That is chapter 3, part 3. I'm going to talk on that and continue also. Of course, it is Sunday. I don't. You may like to sleep. No issue. You sleep. No problem. If you miss something, no problem. But remember, time is very important factor. And when we organize something, we do some project in our career, we always consider time as one important factor, in addition to cost, quality, and many other factors, many other supports. These are prime: time, cost, and quality. And quality is something unlimited, you can say, or there's limit, both. And there are other factors that support building or structure. Many factors are there. I'm not naming them here because it depends upon each individual what actually they want. About these general talks, these are general talks from some country where is a really no time. Access to site. There are parts in that general, that scope: access roles, temporary access roles, site entry onto site. Very small, and see what it says. This part specifies requirements for access to site, including temporary access roles and contractors' entry into site. Now, this section is part 16, which relates in that traffic diversions. Now, access roads, what are these? Temporary access roads. What does access mean? First you have to understand that. What is access? Contractor shall arrange for construction, maintenance, and afterwards remove and reinstate any access required for and in connection with execution of works. Reinstatement shall include restoring area of any roads to at least degree of safety, stability, drainage, level, contour, and landscape that existed at time contractor is given prosperity. Then you can say, I said again, I read again because maybe it's not clear. Restatement shall include restoring area of any route to at least degree of safety, stability, drainage level, contour, and landscaping existed at time of contractor is generally is given possession of site, and all such reinstatements shall meet minimum requirements of QCS. Then contract is required to maintain and provide satisfactory temporary access and traffic flow to from and within areas of work. Temporary traffic signs and lighting for temporary roads and diversions are to be in strict accordance with requirements of engineer. Details of proposals for any such measures are to be submitted by contractor for approval to traffic, police, and engineers. Details of proposals for any such measures are to be submitted by contractor for approval to traffic, police, and engineer prior to implementation of diversions or temporary roads unless otherwise instructed. All right, now details of details of proposals for any such measures are to be submitted by contractor to approval to traffic, police, and engineer prior to implementation of diversions or temporary roads unless otherwise instructed. Such approval shall not relieve the contractor from of any of his duties or responsibilities under contract. Contractors shall maintain at all times, pedestrian access to all properties, front line, and area. All right, now says that such approval shall not relieve contractor of this, but shall maintain all times pedestrians access to properties, front line, road affected by works. Contractor shall at all times during contract maintain safe and proper access to and from adjacent buildings and properties. Contractor shall maintain at all times all traffic signs, lighting, barriers, cones, and whatever additionally required to help keep diversions, temporary roads, and pedestrians access at a very good condition and best working status. Now, site entry, entry onto site. Relax, touch my legs. Site entry, entry onto site. Contractor shall notify engineer in writing 14 days in advance of intentions to start work. If construction of works include operations in 2 or more areas, such notifications shall apply to each areas. You know, working areas for which access is subject to time constraints is subject to this. Those, now, let's just visually how weather is you and see how weather is. And put off one fan, see how put off 5 minutes. And just let us see the weather outside, how it's working. For half a minute I'll take and come back. This weather is working. But sometimes there is a problem here. Yeah, it's not rain anyway. Let us go further. Let's see how it works. So, I may say here, just a moment. Okay, on my legs. What this man is saying. Yes, gentlemen. Working areas for which access subject to time constraints shall be as detailed in project documentation. Any known hazards in working areas shall be detailed in project documentation. Known hazard. Okay, hazard area maybe they are. Contractors shall keep records of dates of entry onto departure from all areas included in works, together with dates of erection and removal of temporary hoardings, and shall furnish copies of these records when required by engineer. Contractor shall make a record to be agreed with engineer on condition of site immediately before entering for purpose of construction works. So it says contractor shall keep records of dates of entry onto departure and departure from all areas included in works, together with date of erection and removal of temporary hoardings, and shall furnish copies of these records when required by engineers. Alright, now contractor shall make a record to be agreed with engineer on conditions of site immediately before entering for purpose of constructing works, Prior to commencing works on roads, and contractors shall complete and submit to engineer necessary forms, road safety division forms, necessary forms. Prior to commencing works on roads, contractors shall complete and submit to engineer necessary inventory forms, road safety divisions, site inventory forms, street name, inventory, etc. Now we go further. It's very important point actually. Prior to commencing works on roads, the contractor shall complete and submit to engineer necessary inventory forms, as road safety division, site inventory form, street name inventory. Contractor shall be responsible for rectifying damage to above signs in absence of an approved inventory prior to construction. Contractor shall be responsible for rectifying any damage to above signs in absence of any approved inventory prior to construction. Where work is required on owner's plant, and contractor shall comply with owner's permit procedure prior to commencement of work. Now, this is protection. Protection, there is a scope, means general, then protection of works, general protection, and protection of finishes, equipment and surfaces, protection of other works like protection against damage, procedure for complaints and claims for damage, and then protection of survey control points, watching and lighting, and then there is protection of public against theft, against damage, against trespass, and watchmen, hoarding, type of site hoardings. This part specifies requirements associated with protection of works and other works, watching and lighting, and for site holding. This is protection. What is that? Protection of works and other works, watching and lighting, and for site holding. Now, protection of works. What is general protection? It's general protection, then protection of finishes, equipment and surface. Alright, now protection of finish. Now, general protection, I say, contractor shall take full responsibility for care and protection of works and temporary works against damage of any kind of for duration of contract. Remember, for duration of contract. That's the important point. In the event of any damage to works or temporary works, contractor shall undertake all necessary repairs at his own cost. Alright. So, protection of finishes, equipment and surfaces. finishes, equipment, surfaces. This is also very important. Equipment are also there. Contractor shall take full responsibility to production of finishes, equipment, and surfaces that form part of works. Protective coatings and wrappings shall be left in event of any damage to finishes, equipment, and surfaces. Now, in event of any damage to finishes, equipment or surfaces, contractor shall all necessary undertaking, contractor shall all necessary undertaking shall take all necessary undertaking repairs of his own in event of damages to finishes, equivalent to I'm dreaming very fast. I don't know why. I can very fast. I think to speak, it's because of speak. I dry my throat and then start. There's no suffocation here. No wind also, there's no wind. So I say, in event of any damage to finishes, equipment or surfaces, contractor shall take all necessary undertake all repairs at some cost. All necessary. So protection of other works, protection against damage, other works it is. The contractor shall take all necessary precautions to avoid causing any unwarranted damage to roads, lands, properties, trees, and other features. And during currency of contract shall deal promptly with any complaints by owners or occupiers. Where any portion of work is close to, across or under any existing apparatus, contractor shall temporarily support and work around, under or adjacent to apparatus in a manner designed to avoid damage, leakage or danger, and to ensure uninterrupted operation of apparatus. Should any leakage or damage be discovered, should any leakage or damage be discovered, contractor shall at once notify engineer and owner concerned as appropriate, and contractor shall afford every facility to repair or replacement of apparatus affected. Now, contractor shall be held responsible for any damage caused by him or by its work, people, subcontractors or suppliers to public or private roads, paved areas, paths, verges, trees, shrubs, fences, boundary walls, gates, signs, drains, ducts and services during execution. Contractor shall be held responsible for any damage caused by its work, people, subcontractors, suppliers to public or private land, private roads, paved areas, paths, verges, trees, shrubs, fences, boundary walls, gates, signs, drains, ducts and services. During execution of contract shall bear all costs of making good any such damage to entire satisfaction of local and other authorities and owners. Contract shall keep all private roads and paths clean and free from dirt and debris, and any obstruction associated with works which would visualize safe and un, un, unimpeded normal use of said roads and paths. Now, procedure for complaint and claims for damage. Let us go to technicalities of that, means procedure. Now, details of claims of damage warning of intended claim for damage which contractor may receive shall be brought to attention of engineer without delay. Likewise, whatever such claims or warning which may be submitted directly to engineer shall be passed on to contractor without delay. Similar exchange of information shall also be made in relation to all complaints which may be received. Contractor shall notify engineer in writing immediately following any damage or injury resulting from execution of works. Contractor shall also be responsible for all costs associated with the repair of all other works or works due to damage caused by contractor. Now, similar exchange and policy shall also be made available in relation to complaints which may be received. Contractor shall notify engineer in writing immediately following any damage or injury resulting from execution of works. Contractor shall be responsible for all costs associated with repairs of other works due to damage caused by contractor. Protection of survey control points. Very, very small, interesting feature. Now, protection of survey control points, we are going to study that. That's very important point. Survey control points. Protection of survey control points. Contractors shall protect all government survey point control points within limits of site from expected damage with whatever during construction of works. Very boring actually. Excuse me if I get drowsy sometime because of no good weather. It's very suffocated area here. Ventilation is there, so So contractor shall protect all government survey control points within limits of site from damage whatsoever during construction of works. Control points shall be clearly marked on site by contractor, and whatever temporary production works shall be installed as directed by engineers. Should control point be damaged during course of works, it shall replace its replacement or any cost related to that incurred, such as resurfacing, shall be borne by contractor. Then we go further, all control points shall be clearly marked on site by contractors, and any necessary temporary production work shall be installed as directed by engineer. Should any control point be damaged during course of works, its replacement shall be done. Contractor shall consult survey section of Ministry of Municipality and Urban Planning, that's MMUP, prior to commencing of any work. Determine if works is likely to disturb survey marks. If survey section requires a survey mark to be moved, the contractor will be responsible for recreating survey mark to an approved design and specification, and for resurveying point using survey companies approved by survey section. That's what is required. Then contractors shall be responsible for protection of survey marks within boundaries of site and for duration of contract, and shall be liable for all costs of remedial works required by survey section if damaged by contractor. Prior to issuing certificate of completion of works, survey section shall issue a certificate stating that survey marks, whether disturbed or otherwise by contractor, have been reinstalled and protected to satisfaction of survey section. In event of failure to comply with requirements of this clause, engineer, without prejudice to any other method of recovery, may deduct cost of any remedial work after time for completion carried out by survey section from any monies in its hands or which may become due to contractors. Watching and lighting. Protection of public. Watching and lighting, it is. See, these are very common points we are discussing, but these are not technically that good, but procedures are very important for everybody to understand. It's regulation of countries, protection of public. Further, the clause 9, the general conditions of contract. Further, the clause 19 of general conditions of contract. Contractor shall provide all watching and lighting and everything else necessary by day and night for protection of public. Then protection against theft. Further to clause 19 of general conditions of contract, contractor shall provide all watching and lighting and everything else necessary by day and night for protection against theft or goods, materials, plant from site to whomsoever belonging. Further to clause 19 of general conditions of contract, contractor shall provide all watching and lighting and everything else necessary by day and night for protection against theft of goods, materials, plant from site to whomsoever belonging. Protection against damage. Further to clause 19 general conditions of contract, contract shall provide all watch and lighting and everything else necessary by day and night for protection against damage to works. Protection against trespass. Contract shall take all necessary action and practical precautions to prevent trespass onto site, whether it is intentional or unintentional. So trespass is the protection of trespass, damage, theft. So protection to public, protection against theft, protection against damage, protection against trespass. Watchman, guard, you can say watchman. Contractor shall provide watchmen at site all times outside of normal working hours. Hoarding, temporary site hoarding. Contract shall only provide temporary site hoarding described in this clause, where it is stated as a requirement in project documentation. Site hoarding shall be painted, corrugated, galvanized sheet. Site hoarding shall be painted, corrugated galvanized sheet or similar, not less than 2 meters high and neat and uniform in appearance. Color and any logo on hoarding shall be to approval of engineer. Here hoarding shall be a sufficient obstacle to prevent access of unauthorized persons. Hoarding shall be a sufficient obstacle to prevent access of unauthorized persons or children and shall be complete with all necessary entrance gates, fence, screens, guards, rails and gantries as may be required to ensure safety of public, occupiers of adjacent lands and of works. Hoarding shall be sufficient obstacle to prevent access to unauthorized persons. Access of unauthorized persons or children and shall be complete with all necessary entrance gates, fans, screens, guard rails and gantries. And may be required to ensure safety of public, occupiers of adjacent lands and of works. Contractor shall maintain, move and adopt hoarding as and when required during progress of works and shall dismantle and remove upon completion of works. So this contract shall maintain, move and adopt hoarding as and when required during progress of works and shall dismantle and remove upon completion of works. Now we'll go to this was part. Now go to 5. That's interference. There's interference, land interest, the existing properties, existing roads and apparatus. Let's go like that. Where's that? Interference. This part specifies requirement associated with interference and with land interests, existing properties, existing roads and apparatus. Again I say interference with land interests, existing properties, existing roads and apparatus. Related sections are part 15, temporary controls. So we go on this interference, land interests. What is land interest? Okay, contractor shall confirm construction operations within site. Contractor shall confine his construction operation within site or such other areas of land as may be negotiated, and shall instruct employees not to trespass, subject to any unavoidable disturbance which may be necessitated by execution of works. Contractor shall not interfere with land use which may be enjoyed on or near site. Contractor shall notify engineer in writing of intentions to use whatever land outside site and obtain a written approval of engineer before approaching any land owner or use of their land. Before exercising any right negotiated by him in connection with using land outside a site, contractor shall notify engineer in writing of such arrangements. Details of arrangements shall include drawing and description of land to be used. Purpose of its use and duration of contractor use of land. Existing properties then. Contractor shall obtain approval of engineer before interfering with access to any property, and shall also obtain approval of engineer to any alternative accessive arrangements. Contractor shall notify engineer and relevant owners and occupiers in writing 14 days in advance of any such interference, and shall confirm to engineer that alternative arrangement have been agreed and with relevant owners and occupiers. It's an important point. Just write down, please. Contractor shall obtain approval of engineer before interfering with access to any property, and shall also obtain approval of engineer to any alternate access. Contractor shall notify engineer and relevant owners and occupiers in writing 14 days in advance of any such interference, and shall confirm to engineer that alternative arrangements have been agreed upon with relevant existing roads. Contractor shall take all reasonable steps to prevent vehicles entering and leaving site. God shall take all reasonable steps to prevent vehicles entering and leaving site, depositing mud or other debris on surface of adjacent roads or footways, and shall remove any material so deposited. Contractor shall be responsible for all damages to public or private roads or streets arising out of by reason of execution of works. Contractor shall not permit tracked vehicle to travel along permanent or temporary roads without use of timber mats or other approved precautions to prevent damage. Timber mats. Contractor shall be held responsible for damages caused by him. Contractors employs subcontractors or suppliers to public or private roads, paved areas, paths, verges, trees, shrubs, fences, boundary walls, gates, signs, drawings and buildings, ducts and services arising out of or by reason of execution of works, and shall bear cost of making good entire satisfaction. Making good making good, let me read again this side, some confusion. Let me read again some miss, I think, though this is end of part, this one. Contractor shall be held responsible for damage caused by it. Contractors employs subcontractor or suppliers to private or private roads, paved areas, paths, verges, trees, shrubs, fences, boundary walls, gates, signs, drains and buildings, ducts and services arising out of by reason of execution of works and shall bear cost of making good and damage to entire section of local other authorities and owners. Contractor shall keep all private roads and paths clean and free from dirt and debris and normal use habits and construction associated with works which would be realized safe and unimpeded, unimpeded normal use of sand, of said roads and paths apparatus. Contractor shall not obstruct access to any manhole or other surface access cover. So we'll go to the next one, that is project meetings. So this we are talking, let me say again, we are still on general specifications, general UCS concrete general. Now we talk of what it says in project meetings. This is general scope, then pre-construction meetings, general topics of discussion, progress meetings, then general topics of discussion, pre-start of meetings, and general topics for discussion, post-construction meetings, general topics for discussion, record of meetings, and minutes of meetings. Project meetings. What I do? Nothing I do, I just go through this. Meetings. Six 04. Project meetings, and this part specifies meetings that will take place before, during, and after construction of works. Pre-construction meetings. Pre-construction meetings. Pre-construction meeting. Pre-construction meeting. Wait a minute. Pre-construction meeting journal. remove the danger. Okay. Now I say, pre-construction meeting shall be held at site. Engineer shall set date and time of meeting and shall notify contractor accordingly. Honor engineer and contractor and their respective representatives shall attend meeting. Engineer shall provide agenda and minimum of 3 working days prior to meeting. Topics for discussion. Topics for discussion. Contractual topics of discussion shall include but not necessarily be limited to following. Now say date of signing contracts. It's like a kind of kick-off meeting. It can be done on site, but if there is no place on site, then we can consider some place. Actually, in this time, we're just going to start some project, mobilize there. There's no place on site. So sometimes it happens that we go to engineer's office or resident office and conduct meeting there, or somewhere else. It depends on. In this is date of signing contract is to be decided. So agenda, you can say date of signing contract meeting, contract sum, starting instruction, commencing date, contract period, maintenance period, penalties. These are contractual parts. ये मानेंगे नहीं आप लोग नहीं मानेंगे जितना मर्जी कर लो साथ पागल हो गए अभी So what points we discussed? Date of signing contract. These are kind of smart parts of start, you can say, when you have to sign contract and contract agreement. Now date of signing contract sum already is actually already decided contract sum, let's say, no problem. Starting instructions and commencing date, contract period, maintenance period, penalties, and these are contractual parts. And then there is contracts obligations or topics of discussion which include but not necessarily limited to that, performance bond, program of works and insurances, and then site related topics of discussion that include but not necessarily limited to that, possession of site, access to other contractors, engineer site facilities, contractor site facilities, then traffic diversion, maintenance of existing access, and overhead and unemployed underground services. Then this is subcontractors and suppliers. Subcontractors and suppliers, then approved tip of site. क्यों करते हैं बीच में ये पागल हुए हैं लोग शायद तो यही काम है बंद हो गया सबको हराने से फालतू लोग डिस्टर्ब कर रहे हैं आगे यार subcontractors and suppliers, overheads and underground service. I forgot where I was. Traffic diversion, maintenance of existing across access, overhead and underground services, subcontractors and suppliers, approved tip off site, project signboards, progress photographs, health and safety, quality assurance, environmental consideration, then site personnel, site inspector, materials on site and material testing, engineers afternoon. Okay, let us repeat this because there was a disturbance in that. Site related topics of discussions would be possession of site, access to other contractors, engineer site facilities, contractor site locations, facilities, and traffic diversion, maintenance of existing access, overhead and underground services, and site, subcontractors and support suppliers, then approved tip of site, project signboards and project photographs, health and safety, quality assurance, environment considerations, and so let's repeat them better. Why to possession of site, access to other contractors, engineer site facilities, contract site facilities, traffic diversion, maintenance of existing access, overhead ground services, subcontractors and suppliers, approved tip of site, project signboards, project photographs, health and safety, quality assurance, environment considerations, site personnel, site inspectors, materials on site, and materials testing. Then engineers overtime, working fees, working overtime, working hours. If Friday's holidays are overtime. uh, Now, so quality assurance, environment considerations, site personnel, site inspections, metals on site or metal testing, engineers overtime, working hours, Fridays, weekdays, coordination. Then your drawings and communication with topics of discussion shall include but not necessarily be limited to following. Drawings and communications, coordination you can say. Communication is actually coordination and writings. Then project correspondence, project documentation, daily report, weekly report, monthly report, method statements, project progress meetings, and material submittals, submittals. Miscellaneous topics of discussion will include but not be limited to as follows: phased completion days, short-term program variations, annual discussion. Project meetings. जल्दी बहुत ही झटका है क्या करूँ मैं प्रोग्रेस मीटिंग जान लो बीच बीच में आगे बहुत तंग कर रहे हैं यार ये मैं क्या करूँ धोखा पता नहीं पागल हो गए हैं बाप खामा हमें से ले जा रहे हैं डिस्टर्ब कर रहे हैं पता नहीं अनपढ़ दिमाग कहाँ से इकट्ठे हुए यार अनपढ़ है सब अनपढ़ है यार Now miscellaneous topics of discussion shall include phased completion date, short-term program variations, other business. And before that was submittals, drawings and communication, and that's project correspondence, project documentation, daily report, weekly report, monthly report, method statements, progress meetings, material approvals and submittals. Now, progress meeting, let's say progress meeting. What is progress meeting? We have to discuss about this. Before this, I would like to show you something if I can. Let me see. It's a very important part, practical part actually, that is not important at all. Let me see what the practical part is 100% so I take it out from here. It's very important part here. So this it was done in 19, let me see book here. This is my own book. There, these pages are also common. No problem. Let me put the book and see what it goes. This is the book actually. I want to show you something. That's why I open this book. My pages are problem. I can't control these pages. So this is because of fan example. I take it off. So I take it this way. These are torn pages. I want to show actually something in this form. Oh my god. I'll show here only what's no problem here. I want to show you a book here, which is it's actually very torn book. It's torn, but let us see. First, I'll show you the cover of this book, which is important one. Let's see the cover of this book simply. This was written in published in 96. This is regarding building practice. And this is project management, state of arts contracts, new site schemes, structural profiles, swimming pools, baths, engineers, etc. So this is that. And some buildings are shown there. There were some contents of this. I'll show you that. It's now. Let's move like this, Now the contents of this book. Maybe you are able to see this exactly. I'm just showing you what contents are there. I speak of for you. It's not a big issue. Just for information, as this work was done, and it was. Now these contents are, I'm just reading for your reference. Now it is classes of planning, explanation of classes, then preparation of various bills of quantities, preparation of various building specifications, converting above documents to tender documents, shortlisting for equalization of tenders and floating tenders, closing, scrutiny and negotiations, tender bond, site handover, commencement of construction, supervision and control by various agencies working in contract areas. Now, coordination, liaison, contracts, organization, structure levels, contractors agent, internal dealings with contractors, organization and dealings at site, elaboration of coordination as pointed out earlier, architectural, structural coordination, structural mechanical engineering coordination, electrical mechanical engineering coordination, then reflected ceiling plan, then structural finishes electrical, structural plumbing and drainage, then services finishes, external services, external works, and then liaison to statutory bodies, structural. In liaison is main contractor, subcontractor, Main contractor, resident engineer and engineer, contractor, other main contractors. Main contractors, local statutory bodies, main contractor, engineer. What is contractor's agent is supposed to do? Maintaining site diaries, some consultants prefer daily job records, daily report submittals, material submittals, pro forma sheet. Now, next page. It is shop drawings, working drawings, pro forma, weekly program, quarterly program, complete program, bar chart schedule, allocating percentages to particular activity, operation, revised program, monthly progress report, monthly technical and coordination meeting, internal as well as external, contract site meetings, minutes of technical and coordination meeting, monthly progress reports, special and instant meetings, site memorandum, site instruction, engineer's instructions, valuation to subcontractor, minus subcontractor, reflected ceiling plan, record drawings, as-built drawings, request for inspection, test reports, material test reports, concrete pour record, for concrete pour control, ready mix concrete material status schedule, then working drawings and shop drawings, complete coordination, license, internal dealings with contractors or organizations, material requirements, coordination with garage, daily report to head office, coordination with main quantity engineer, surveyor, coordination with office manager, staff and other agents, coordination with contracts manager, miscellaneous labor problems, coordination with other sections of company, agents dealing at site, daily program, daily supervision, daily material order, solving instant site problems, solving problems with resident engineers consultants, solving staff disputes and ordering. Then labor bills for wages, overtimes and leave salaries, labor wage working on contract, preparing rebar schedule, proposals for alternatives to resident engineer consultants, technical study of jobs and instructions, daily meetings and general liaison, analysis of project costs based on program. The other pages. What a deputy manager, what a deputy agent, sub-agent should do, what a site engineer should do, what a general foreman should do, what an assistant engineer should do, what a foreman should do, what a plant engineer or foreman should do, what is an office manager, time clerk, keeper, site storekeeper, what a mechanical engineer should do, what an electrical engineer should do, what a plumbing and drainage engineer should do, what a road engineer should do, specialist works. Engineer and supervision, engineer's office, structural level, resident engineer and supervision, what a resident engineer should do, contractual legal aspects, architectural engineering consultant, structural engineering consultant, civil works engineering consultant, mechanical engineering consultant, electrical engineering consultant, plumbing and drainage engineering consultant, quantity engineering consultant, office staff, inspection clerk of works, working relations, records to be kept on residence engineer's office, corresponding pro forma supervisory records. Then engineer's instructions, minutes of coordination, technical meeting, minutes of contract, site meeting, minutes of works, notes, remedial note, confidential letter, variation order, snags list, forward snag list, and that is progress charts, and then say contractors. So the day works then confidential day works, variation order, remedial works, then progress charts, day works, contractors letter to engineer for practical completion certificate correspondence. Such are contents, and this is related to these site activities. I am just trying to show you old circuit means what actually we did. Based on that information, it is a kind of coordinated circuit, we can say management, very small management of site management, though where there was no different disciplines in those days. There was no quality section, safety section separately. So it was just this kind of that management diagram, or you can say to call it professional diagram or structural diagram of various conditions kept together. In this are a direct course, this is It is a design, then engineer, then honor, and engineer, rest, design engineer, and then various other topics, designations are shown. So that's not my interest in this. My interest is something else. In this, I have written something about agent because this is actually contract oriented book. Contract oriented, you may say. It says that what about coordination? It says first of all, I will say it says that architectural and structural coordination, structural and mechanical coordination, electrical and mechanical coordination, structural finishing, electrical coordination, structural plumbing and drainage coordination, services, finishes and external services, external works, services, liaison to statutory bodies and structure. Then you go to another point is agent means what actually agent is. Now I have written in this, contractor's chief executive on job site is called agent or site agent or contractor's representative or site manager for the project. Agent shall be represented for job in an oral manner, answerable to contractor, to resident engineer and consultants group. Now, before going further, I like to say what are main roles of agent in listed form, not in detailed form. Let us say, I have given some points here, 27 points I read for you. Maintain site diary, daily report, maintain site diary, daily report submittal. You can see them first better. Because, so maintain site diary. My God, why are you sending messages for nothing here? Disturbing me. Oh, again coming nonsense. Illiterate people. Disturbing for nothing here. Your mess. What I do with the messages? Maintain site diary, daily report submittal, material submittal. See, daily report submittal. That is maintain site diary actually contains daily report. Daily report submittal, material submittal, shop and working drawing submittals, weekly programs, quarterly programs, complete programs, revised programs, monthly progress report, monthly technical and coordination meeting, monthly technical and coordination meetings internal for contractors, general meetings, special and instant meetings, site memorandum, site instructions, engineers instructions, valuation for completed works, subcontract work, additions. Then reflective ceiling plans, as built, record drawings, request for inspection, test reports, concrete pour records, material test records, material test schedules, drawings test schedules, complete coordination, license related to allied services, departments, local rules. Then we go to, let's say, I'm just trying to miss what this book is for. It's same thing as we are talking and documenting. We'll see, we'll touch in this again. Take back on I continue on that. I was just referring to you what this how does it relate to practical management. So we continue on that, and that is progress meetings. Now I'm talking of progress meeting, 6:31. Okay, no problem. 6:31. Now progress meeting. If I close my light, shall it work? Let me see. If I close my light, shall it work? Let me see. If I close my lights and I close my battery, so that battery can be saved, I'll put on half an hour later on. Okay, let me do this. So it is a little dim, no problem. Now progress meeting. Progress meeting shall be held once a month. This was that time, not now, remember. That time. I am talking. Let us say it's there in once a month. They want once a month, but it's not necessary. Okay, let us assume this once a month. Where possible and practicable, progress meeting shall be held same time, day of month and location. Engineer shall prepare agenda and submit it to contractors a minimum of 3 working days prior to meeting. Okay, let's see this. Now, progress meeting shall be attended by engineer and its representatives and contractor and its representative. Subcontractors may attend when involved in matters to be discussed or resolved, but only when requested by engineer. In addition to attendance named herewith, meetings shall be attended by representatives of utility owners, government departments and authorities, and any other regulatory agencies having jurisdiction over project, if required, and such other persons as engineer may designate. So the time, you can say, again I say, progress meeting shall be attended by engineer and its representatives and contractor and its representatives. Subcontractors may attend when involved in matters to be discussed or resolved, but only when requested by engineer. In addition to attendees named herein, meeting shall be attended by representative of utility owners, government department and authorities, and any other regulatory agencies having jurisdiction over project, if required, and such other persons engineer may designate. Time and location of progress meeting shall be as directed by engineer. Engineer shall chair meeting. Contractor shall submit information itemized below. Contractor shall submit information as itemized below to engineer at least 3 working days prior to each progress meeting. Now this list says list of completed activities. I think they copied my side diary. I remember I used to write same thing in side diaries on my side in 1986, and there is some coming same thing. Okay, let them go, no problem. Contract shall submit information itemized below to engineer at least 3 working days prior to each progress meeting, and in those days it was 1 month, I remember. A list of completed activities, list of current activities with an estimate time required for completion, a list of changes to planned starting date and duration for all outstanding activities, percentage completion for each current activity, then percentage completion of for each current activity, list of activities planned to start in next period, the health, safety, environment and quality data and issues, then other information, any other information required by engineer's representative. If contract requires additional progress meetings, he shall submit request in writing to engineer for any such additional meetings. If contractor requires additional progress meeting, he shall submit his request in writing to engineer. Contractor shall provide a proposed agenda for meeting. Contractor shall provide names of personnel who are required to attend. Engineer shall chair these meetings. So contractor shall provide names of all personnel who are required to attend. Engineer shall chair these meetings. Okay, now it is a little down. Engineer shall chair these meetings because it's a very boring subject. And topics for discussion, I'm finding what I used to do in 1986 in Qatar. I think same thing is coming in. So I'm little thinking on that. Topics of discussion will include but not necessarily limited to following. So what are those? Let's say actual start and finish dates. Actual start and finish dates for activities completed during update period, and remaining durations and percentages completion for all activities and not completed. So let's move further. This is very important point. Topics. This is topics of discussion are very important. That makes difference in meeting. Though there are 4 topics only. Topics of discussion, which are actual start date and finish dates for activities completed during updated period. Means each activity is not simple project activity. Each activity, like there may be many each building activities. Then remaining duration percentage completion for all activities not completed. Logic, activity duration and cost data for variation order, which then we will we will be completing into into construction schedule. In general, it's a project meeting. Context proposed meetings to recover lost lost time and place project back on schedule by increasing manpower, materials, and okay, some confusion. I'm getting tried. So logic, so I'll speak it. So I'm getting tried out. It's not good for me. I'm getting tried out. Humidity and problem. So the actual start and finish dates for activities completed during update period, remaining durations and percentage completion for all activities not completed, logic, activity duration and cost data for variation order work that will be incorporated into construction schedule. So logic, activity duration and cost data for variation order work that will be incorporated into construction schedule, and contractors proposed measure to recover lost time and place and project back on schedule by increasing manpower, materials and equipment resources and working extended hours, additional shift. Now pre-start of meeting. A pre-start of meeting is required. Pre-start of meeting is required prior to starting up any major plant component, subsystem or system. Pre-start meeting shall be attended by engineer and representative and contractor and representative. If necessary, equipment manufacturer and or suppliers shall also attend. Agenda for meeting shall be provided by engineer a minimum of three working days prior to meeting. Now topics for discussion. Topics for discussion shall include but not necessarily be limited to following: start up and validation prerequisites. Start up and validation prerequisites. Startup plan and schedule. Startup plan and schedule. Temporary connections, spare parts, chemicals and operating fluids. Spare parts, chemical and operating fluids. Health, safety, environment and quality consideration and other items deemed necessary by engineer. This is for topics for discussion. These are important. Startup validation requires means we have to say plan and schedule and temporary connection and spare parts. All this must be detailed studies must be done for this for every machine equipment. Post-construction meeting also. A post-construction meeting shall be held prior to final inspection of work Post-construction meetings shall be attended by engineer, contractor and their respective representatives, and agenda for meeting shall be provided by engineer a minimum of three working days. Now, topics for discussion include but not be limited to following: discuss and resolve all unsettled matters, guarantees and insurance, schedules and procedures for final inspection process, correction of defects and deficiencies, documents required to be submitted by contractors, other items deemed necessary by engineer. Records of meeting. Records of meeting, minutes of meeting. So the engineer will record minutes of each meeting. A copy of minutes shall be furnished to contractors with four working days. Contractor has any objections to meeting shall submit them in writing to engineer not more than 2 days after they are presented. In absence of any objection, it shall be understood and agreed that contractor accepts minutes as in true and complete record of meeting. Now, let's say I think 6:47. We should jump to FIDIC. So, let's say submittals these are. Should we jump to physics? Physics, yeah, I think page 29 it is on this. I should move to physics because let's move to. So this is QCS complete journal. And it was this one. Now we'll move on to physics. This one. This was now. We are talking of this one now, but I want to jump onto FIDIC because this is also an important part. So we are talking of general. And I want to move to FIDIC. No, let me close this file first of all. I'll open file of this. So I am opening red book first, and let me finish. After that, I will start silver book. This is my red book, and I have to go to page, I think 170 something. Let me see how much is that. Page I missed actually. Which page was that? Let me see which page was that. I was talking about something limitations. I was talking about liabilities limitations. I think maybe that one. I don't know since the contracts representatives and I learned. Yesterday I created 11 liabilities. So it was the limitations of liability we discussed till yesterday as a subclass 115. I we completed that one. Now I'll move to employer. That's class 2. I am moving on to something else. So it's that I'm adding class 2 employer, and subclass 2(1) right of access to site. This is in FIDIC. I'm discussing Red Book 2017 FIDIC Red Book. Yesterday we had discussed in details of up to employer's liability, and this is a review of that, all your Red Book, just to see means how we relate these conditions. General conditions and particular conditions on contract are linked together. There are general conditions, there are particular conditions. Particular conditions are more important than general conditions if these are available. So in a letter of precedence we can say particular conditions take effect rather than general conditions if particular conditions are available for certain clause. So these conditions which are doing, we are talking relation to particular conditions and general conditions. General conditions can't be removed from FIDIC, but we can organize particular condition in that place and include that these conditions are important because these are particular conditions, and if these conditions do happen somewhere, this will automatically go there. So these particular conditions we are now differentiating between two. Let's do it now, as we are doing yesterday. We have gone through many conditions, general conditions, and converted to practical conditions, and we have understood now what we, if we are to bring some changes onto that, we have to put in practical conditions. There are particular conditions, or which variance example here. So let's now talk of this, because this is also a very important part. Now it's clause 2 employer. Now it says right of access to site. It may be necessary for contractor to have early access to site for purpose of survey and subsurface investigations. If so, details of such early right of access should be stated in specifications, including any restrictions on such access and whether or not it shall be exclusive to contractor. If right of access to an possession of site cannot be granted by an employer in a normal way, details should be stated in specifications and appropriate amendments made in first paragraph of subclause and, if necessary, to second paragraph. Now, other subclass 2(3) were employer, personal and other contractor. Provisions concerning cooperation between contractors should be reflected. Alright, let's say now. Employers, personnel and other contractors. Provisions concerning cooperation between contractors should be reflected in employers' contracts with any other contractor working on his near side. Employer supplied materials and employer supplied equipment I think we had gone through, no problem, we repeat it, If employer supplied materials are listed in specifications for contractors' use, then there should be an amendment to clause. Example, employer shall supply to contractor employer supplied materials listed in specification at times stated in specification, and if not stated, within times that shall be required to enable contractor to proceed with execution of works. Engineer then no sorry uh, proceed with execution of works in accordance with program. It says that shall be required to enable contractor to proceed with execution of work according to program. When made available by employer, contractor shall visually inspect employer supply materials and when made available by employer, contractor shall visually inspect employer supplied materials and shall promptly give notice to engineer of any shortage, defect or default in them. Thereafter repeat again. There's a very small font in this. Let it blow. Why not blow? Let me blow up this. Yeah, it's blown now. So when made available by employer, contractor shall visually inspect employer supplied material and shall promptly give a notice to engineer of any shortage, defect or default in them. Thereafter, contractor shall rectify such shortage, defect or default to extent instructed by engineer. Alright. It's about equipment. We have gone through that. Means you have to inspect those equipment. Say after this visual inspection, employer supplied materials shall come under care, custody and control of contractor. The contract's obligation of inspection, care, custody and control shall not relieve employer of liability for shortage, defect or default. So in this paragraph of subclause 71, for care of works after two instances of good. So if you are getting material from employer, if I am giving that at some rates, then you have to pay back, and for that is required. Then let's say employer's equipment is listed in a specification for contractors' use in execution of works. The employer, the following provisions may be added. After that, because whatever is given above, what it says, then you have to add provisions in paragraph which says employer shall make employer's equipment listed in the specification available to contractor. Okay, now employer shall make employer's equipment listed in available to contractor at times stated in specification, if not stated within time that shall be required to enable contractor to proceed with execution of works in accordance with program. Now, unless expressly stated otherwise in the specification, employer's equipment shall be provided for exclusive use of contractor When made available by employer, contractor shall visually inspect employer's equipment and shall promptly give a notice to engineer of any shortage, defect or default in them. Thereafter, contractors shall rectify such shortage, defect or default to extent instructed by engineer. Such instruction shall be deemed to have been given under subclause 13.3.1 variation by instructor. Then contractor shall be responsible for employer's equipment when it is under contractor's control and or any of contractor's personnel or operating it, driving it, directing it, using it or control of it. Contractor shall not remove from site any items of employer's equipment without consent of employer. However, consent shall not be required for vehicles transporting goods or contractors' personnel to from site. Now, engineer engineer, it's recommended that engineer who was appointed, oh, that's okay, who was appointed for design must also be appointed for work supervision. This is better. Then what to do? Engineer duties and authority. Let's read again because people can you can't assume people understand everything. Yes, no, you have to sometimes repeat them as well. I think it's fine. We have to put this off for 5 minutes. Yes, why not? Put this off for 5 minutes. Now, it says it's recommended that engineer who was appointed by employer to carry out employer's design of works is actually retained by employer to act as engineer under contract for services during construction of works. In appointment of the engineer, it's recommended that employer and engineer use form agreed, leave this form or not this form. So, engineer's duties. Now, what are engineer's duties? In performing engineer's duties and in exercising authority under contract, engineers should take due regard of FIDIC's code of ethics. I'll leave that. Now, let me see what it says. Something specific I'm saying. No. Now, example changes here. The engineer shall obtain consent of employer before taking action under following subclasses of these conditions. It's given A subclass, B subclass. Now insert subclass number, not subclass. They said aggressive, agreement or determination. Please see below. So it says engineer shall obtain a consent of employer before taking action under following subclauses. Let us say subclause. This number is not given here. Is subclause number, not subclause 3. Agreement, agreement or determination cannot be taken up. But please see below and describe specific procedures. Now, list should be extended or reduced as necessary. He can take signatures of, you can say, approval of employer except for 37, clause 37, agreement or determination, because that is not one-sided, that should be two-sided. So only one party cannot decide before do something. So it says that. Now, this list can be extended or reduced as necessary if obligation to obtain employer's consent only applies beyond certain limits financial or otherwise. Example wondering, wording should be varied accordingly. It should also be noted that such requirements shall not be applied to any action. All right, move further. Delegation by engineer now. Oh, what's wrong? Oh my God, I forgot that actually. I forgot that. Oh my, I forgot. That's a problem here. I did not care. It is gone.